What is going on, you guys? Welcome back into the Takedown on SI YouTube channel. Rick Ucchino, Zack Heydorn with you here, and our special guest picker this week, the man himself, the Becky Lynch's Sports Illustrated Author of the Year, SP3, back stateside as AEW goes across the pond. SP3 gets his wires crossed and has to come back to New York City, but hey, we're all here. We're happy to have him, and we're ready to talk some Forbidden Door. What's going on, SP3?
My timing sucks, but my opinions don't. I am here to win prediction gold once again. I don't know my record on these predictions, but I know I do pretty well for myself. I don't know if I've done better than Zach or Rick, but I know I'll be doing better this time. That's how much I know.
I'll tell you this much. When it comes to AEW, you tend to have your finger on the pulse a little bit more than myself or Zach. I do know that Zach, I have been the thorn in Zach's paw for these last few shows.
Damn you, Jacob Fatu. Okay? Like, here's the thing. Predictions have not gone my way. You guys know that. But here I am, and it's another day. It's a new event, and, I'm going to bat 1,000 on this one. So let's do it.
When Becky Lynch retained the Intercontinental Championship over Lyra Valkyria at SummerSlam, I could not send that text to Zach fast enough, as I was the only member of the panel to choose the man to retain her championship. I'm just like,
well done.
I'm feeling something here. I'm feeling like she's retaining. They are not going to give that woman a new theme song. I know Triple H. They are not going to give that woman a new theme song and then have her lose.
I literally went into every prediction show I did that week, and I was like, Lyra Valkyria, she should win. It's the end of the rivalry, third match. She puts her over in the end. That makes a whole lot of sense. I don't care. Becky Lynch matches me in promos. I'm going with Becky.
You're co-opted.
All right, well, let's dive into this. We got a 9-match card ready, locked, sealed, and delivered for Forbidden Door this weekend. AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. And the TNT Championship is on the line. It is Kyle Fletcher, Hiromu Takahashi from New Japan Pro Wrestling. SP3, get us started here. Kyle Fletcher's winning, right?
Well, yeah, Kyle Fletcher is going to win, but I think that a lot of people are undermining how great Hiromu Takahashi can be. I think that this is the first time he's really getting a showcase at Forbidden Door. His previous appearances have been in multi-man matches with Los Ingobernables de Japón, and then LIJ used to always team with Sting and Darby around Forbidden Door time. But for him to have a singles match, I think is a big deal. And he is one of the pound for pound best wrestlers in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's a record-breaking 4-time Best of Super Juniors winner, a multi-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. This man survived a neck injury. I was front row at the show in 2018 when he got dropped on his head by Dragon Lee, and he came back a year later and put on some of the best matches that you'll ever see against Will Ospreay and Kushida and everyone in between. Dragon Lee, one of them as well. So never sleep on Hiromu Takahashi, but Kyle Fletcher will put him to sleep on Sunday.
Yeah, look, AEW, it was crystal clear from the Continental Classic last year that Tony Khan was all aboard the Kyle Fletcher hype train. He got a massive push in that tournament, almost to the point where I'm like, I think he's going to win this damn thing. And if memory serves correct, I think I did pick him to win. And then when he lost in the semifinals, I'm just like, okay. All right, fine, TK. Fine. Make me look like an idiot this time. I'm not looking like an idiot this time. Kyle Fletcher's going to retain. He's going to have that TNT championship for a long time, Zach.
Kyle Fletcher's winning this one. I love this match, and I hate this match at the same time. And I love it because in the ring, it's just going to be a really compelling, clash of two guys who are just tremendous in-ring workers, and not just from hold to hold, but just there's innovative in terms of how they wrestle their matches and how they connect different moves together. So I'm excited for that. I wish AEW / New Japan would have done a little more to try to convince you that it's not as much of a certainty that Kyle Fletcher is going to win. I think the match itself would be better served if it wasn't such a certainty that he's leaving with the TNT championship. And so I think it's going to hurt the drama, but technically this could easily be one of the matches we're talking about at the end of the night when this is all set.
For sure. Predictable does not always mean bad.
Right.
The reunion that nerds like myself have been waiting well over a decade for. We're disappointed we didn't get when Christian Cage came back in 2021 and then immediately left WWE for AEW. And then Copeland gets to AEW and it's like, yes, they're finally going to tag these guys. And then they started feuding and I'm like, damn it. But finally, we are here. The reunion has happened. I was there for it in Cincinnati. They don't have the updated graphic yet as Cope and Christian Cage will be going against Kip Sabian and Killswitch, a.k.a. Luchasaurus. He returned on Dynamite this week in Scotland. Nick Wayne has a broken foot. Regardless, SP3, ain't no way, no how. I don't care who the opponents are going to be. I don't care if these two are on the same page or not. Cope and Christian are winning this damn match. They ain't losing their return. And no offense to Killswitch or Kip Sabian, they especially ain't losing to Killswitch and Kip Sabian. Like, this is Cope and Christian all day, every day.
Yeah, no doubt Cope and Christian get the win in their reunion. They're not on the same page, but at least they're in the same book, as Christian said last night. I thought Christian had the best response, because I felt like the Rush reunion, I was not feeling it at all. Watching it from home, I understand, like Rick, if I was there live, I probably would have different emotions because I'm a huge Edge and Christian fan myself. But I felt like they were telling a story and then they skipped 3 or 4 chapters to get to last week, but this was a nice little kind of, we're steadying the pace. We went back a chapter with Christian's response, but this is the steady pace that I want for this story. But they got to move on to Toronto, where they got a bigger match to do there.
Zach, are you also going with Cope and his asshole to win this one?
All in. Cope and his asshole are the best. Yeah, they look, I'm more in the camp of SP3 on this as far as like how successful the reunion has been so far. My issue with it has been like, man, people want to just see the reunion. So do we have to hem and haw about it? Like, oh, I'm in and I'm not in and I'm not sure. It's just like, I think people want to just see Edge and Christian get along and do cool stuff together. That's me. Regardless,
that's
though,
WWE level booking right there. This is much.
It is.
This is sometimes, and they'll eventually be on the same page again.
I don't need Christian with a 15-minute promo where he tells people I'm conducting my business. You should have just left him off TV and then have him come back in Cincinnati the way they did it. They added a needless step in the whole process with that promo. That was awful.
Yeah. But to you guys' point though, they got to win. They got bigger fish to fry. I don't think this is the last iteration that we'll see. I think eventually you will get a Christian and Copeland who are on the same page and clicking, I would imagine. And the only way to do that is to get them some wins. And sorry, like Kip Sabian and Killswitch, I mean, they're lucky to be in this spot on the card. But they got to get beat. They got to go down.
Yeah, Kip Sabian is he's going to be buried gently on Sunday. They're not going to pin Luchasaurus in his first match back. It's spectacular to see him after everything that he's gone through over the last year. It's so happy he was, healthy and able to come back, because he's perfect to slot into this spot with Nick Wayne's unfortunate broken foot, with everything that Christian has put that man through before he went on the IL. So it's nice that they're going to be able to pay that story part of it off too, even though Killswitch is not going to go over on Christian anyway. We got the AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line in a 3-way match after a spectacular time limit draw between FTR and Brodito on Wednesday. And not to steal your thunder, SP3, because we are of a like mind on this, as we were talking before we hit record. FTR is winning the titles just so they can drop them to Cope and Christian and All Out in Toronto. Let's go. There's my hard-hitting analysis. The fact that this was announced as an eliminator match, though, on Twitter is very interesting to me, SP3. How do you think they go about? Because I figured, okay, it's a 3-way match. Great. FTR can pin Brodito and protect Hurt Syndicate from, being these dominant champions and not having to take an L. But if this is an eliminator match, they're going to have to take an L.
They're going to have to take the kind of L they want. That's why it's an eliminator matchup. They're gonna get the old famous whooping too much butt elimination, where they're whooping too much butt. The referee counts to 5, and they're like, "Get off!" And Bobby Lashley doesn't listen, and then DQ, disqualified. You're eliminated, and it's like, "Oh my god, I hurt people. I'm eliminated," and he gets eliminated, so they don't have to get a pinfall. They don't have to be looking like, dumb babyface or dumb heels. I don't know what they are at this point, who couldn't break up a cover. They don't have to be involved in anything. They get a DQ finish. They don't have to lose to anybody. And Yatu can figure out who's going to win that, where FTR doesn't get involved with them at all, pretty much. I mean, this is kind of what the reports are saying. That's how Hurt Syndicate would work. So I think that's how it's going to go. And then it comes down to FTR and Brodito. I think Brodito has been one of the best additions to the tag team division in such a long time, because Brody King is a tag team specialist. Whether you go back to Ring of Honor with PCO, or you go to AEW with House of Black, or whether you go with this tag team here with Bandito, who is having a Wrestler of the Year type of campaign over the last couple of months. They just delivered a great matchup with FTR. I expect this match to be better than it would have been if it was FTR versus Hurt Syndicate or Hurt Syndicate versus Brodito. But in the end, FTR wins.
And here's the thing. What I like about your scenario there is you can utilize the Hurt Syndicate to kind of neutralize Brody King in a way where, after they get disqualified, Bobby Lashley can really lay into him and maybe put him through an announce table, or, hit him with something and bloody him up and really kind of, take him out of the equation. And then that leaves Bandito, your Ring of Honor World Champion, to go basically 2-on-1 against FTR. He can put up the valiant fight. You can give him a couple of hope spots, get the crowd pumping that he might be able to pull it off. And then he eats a shatter machine and FTR wins the tag team titles. I love that booking. We'll see if TK goes that way. Zach, where's your mind at?
First of all, just want to shout out that tag match on this week's episode of Dynamite. That was fantastic. Like, I feel like I'm not the only one, obviously, that loves tag team wrestling, but it's rare to get a big time tag team title match like that on TV. 30 minutes of action, high drama, just great stuff from both those teams. And I think that you guys are on point with the FTR thing. I mean, look, even if you just look outside of the storylines that you're seeing on TV, the money match right now is FTR and Cope and Christian, and so why wouldn't you want the titles to be on the line in that? And
in Toronto, no less.
Toronto, yeah, it's in Toronto. I mean, it's like this is a layup. So even if Hurt Syndicate doesn't want to do business, you find a way to do it so that you can get the match that you want. And so I'm taking FTR here, even though it's not as interesting as a different argument could be, but such is life. I don't want to lose. I'm winning this time.
Well, we're all on the same page right now, so we're either all wrong or all right. Either way,
we're probably all wrong. We're closer to all wrong than all right. I did want to mention, though, Zach mentioned the matchup on Dynamite this week. This tag team tournament has been a net positive for AEW. It feels like 4 weeks in a row they had the best match on the show, whether it be FTR versus Jet Speed or Brodito versus the Young Bucks. You had that Brodito versus Gates of Agony matchup on Collision. You also had Bang Bang Gang versus FTR on Collision, and then FTR and Brodito 30-minute instant classic on TV. It's helped a division that was really struggling at the time, and you've added a team like Brodito. You've put further spotlight on Jet Speed. You put further spotlight on your two iconic teams of FTR and the Young Bucks. So bravo by AEW on that.
We got the Unified Championship on the line as Kazuchika Okada defends against Swerve Strickland, and this one may or may not have been tipped by some reports this week. First off, shout out to Swerve Strickland, the fact that this man has apparently been wrestling with a torn meniscus since 2019.
That's what? So pro wrestler right there. That's just so pro wrestler.
What? Let me just wrestle on. Let me just put in on these all-time classics and have a world championship run in AEW with a torn meniscus. that I've had for 5 years, by the way.
Yep.
Eventually, though, that's something that's going to catch up with you. It sounds like it may have caught up with him here. I don't think if he's had it for 5-6 years now, at this point, I don't expect this to hinder his performance at all, but it does feel like Kazuchika Okada, by one way or another, his reign, his record-breaking reign as the unified champion is going to continue. I'm going to go with Okada SP3.
Yeah, this is easy. Okada was going to win. Even before we knew about the injury, I thought Okada was going to win. He just won the Unified Championship at All In Texas. It makes sense for him to continue his reign and just hit the grand record of the longest reigning champion in AEW history. So you got to continue that. I expect Swerve to give us one more banger matchup before he takes some time out. But damn, AEW's getting hit bad with the injury bug between Swerve, whatever's going on with Ospreay. They got a whole bunch of other people that's on the sideline. We're still waiting for Eddie Kingston to be back. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can get to the other side of when these guys are healthy and back in the ring.
John Moxley ain't ever going to get to take that vacation.
He's never taking it. He's going to have to retire.
Just let the man go fishing. Damn.
Come on, TK. You guys are right. It's going to be Okada winning this match. And again, I don't think that's not just because Swerve Strickland got injured, but it's because it's the right call. Look, I mean, I think AEW fans and definitely New Japan fans have been waiting for this kind of push for Okada, not just the guy who says the B word, but the guy who's a dominant champion at the top. And this is a win that he needs to get in order to maintain that. I mean, look, you can have money matches down the road with Okada and Hangman Page, Okada and Will Ospreay, if Ospreay's healthy. Like, you can build up some really, really big matches if you continue to just take care of Okada. And this is that. It's no shade to Swerve Strickland. He's one of the biggest stars that AEW has, but this very much seems like Okada's title, his time, and he's the priority. So I think he gets the W here pretty definitively.
I was surprised to learn this week that man's only 37. Why did I think he was so much older than that? Like,
nope. That's why he was a prodigy, sir.
I mean, I looked up, I was like, man, how old is it? What is he, like 45 or something? I was like, he's fucking my age.
37.
I'm like, Jesus. All right. Damn. We are all not created equal. That is for damn sure. We got the TBS championship on the line in this fatal four-way that is also going to be representing CMLL and Stardom along with AEW. It is 8 belts Monet, who will probably be 9 belts Monet by the time this matchup gets going. It is Persephone. It is Bozilla. It is Alex Windsor. No disrespect to the fine folks from CMLL or Stardom. This is a 2-horse race for me, gentlemen. And I feel like there is a decent chance that Alex Windsor could win this, not by beating Mercedes, by beating one of the other 2 opponents in this. But Mercedes just suffered her first loss in AEW. She ain't going to go 2 in a row. She's not dropping the TBS championship. She's going to be carting around over 100 pounds of gold everywhere she goes across this country by the time that her run is done. Like, there has to be legitimately promotions across the world who are calling up her representatives saying, please come win my championship and get it on AEW programming. Please do that. They're not ending this anytime soon. I'd love to see Alex Windsor get the win in London. I don't think it's happening. I'm going with Mercedes Moné SP3.
I don't think it's a 2-horse race at all. It's a 1-horse race. It's Mercedes Moné. This would be my lock pick. If you're betting on this show, this is the lock pick. Mercedes Moné will retain the TBS championship. I think Persephone is someone that has always showed out, whether it's like Ring of Honor appearances, the joint shows that they did with CMLL when they were in Mexico. I think she's very talented. She has like a very surprising agility, and she can get like the hard hitting type of matches as well. Alex Windsor, she's been a nice addition to AEW TV. I've liked her in the role of the Toni Storm tag team partner, and I think that she showed like kind of of underrated charisma in a lot of her interviews and promos she did with Timeless Toni Storm as well. And she's always been great in the ring. And that matchup with Athena was awesome. But the person to watch here is Bozilla. Bozilla is different. They call her the kaiju of Joshi wrestling. She's very young. She's in her early 20s. She's a second generation wrestler, and she's like one of the best things that's happened to Joshi wrestling in a while. Like she basically picked up the ball that Megan Bayne left when Megan Bayne started coming to the United States more and working with AEW. She picked up that ball that Megan Bayne left as the big monster hero of Stardom, and now she's running with it after just coming to the company last month. So Bozilla is the one who's going to stand out here.
Zach, are you also on the money train?
I'm on the money train, although SP3 really sold me on that match. Like I'm more interested in it now by far than I was after last night's Dynamite. So props to you, SP3. Hopefully Tony Khan's got a commission check going your way.
This one, we all win. This one is absolutely going to be balls to the walls. The lights out steel cage match. The Death Riders, Gabe Kidd, Young Bucks, Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, and the Golden Lovers all locked inside of a steel cage. Absolute chaos. Man, I feel like this one has to go to the good guys. I feel like that's the kind of been the build up to this, but you know, do you send Ospreay out as the hero before he has to go off and have his neck surgery or whatever it is that's got to be going on with him, whether there's legitimacy or some kayfabe mixed in there? There are reports that he does have to have surgery of some kind. So this is going to be him going out. Does he go out on the Shield? Does he get the win? Does he go out on his back? I could go either way here, SP3, but I feel like after all that the Death Riders have obviously put all of these guys through absolute hell, but they suffered their big loss when Jon Moxley lost the title to Hangman Adam Page. Do they get a win back here?
Yeah, I think it is. I think Moxley, the Death Riders, and Young Bucks win this matchup. I think that there's too many losses in a row. Like when was the last time Moxley lost 3 pay-per-views in a row? Because people tend to forget they lost at Anarchy in the Arena.
They did.
He lost the main event of All In. The Bucks lost their matchup at All In, and they were also in that Anarchy in the Arena. I don't see Moxley losing 3 pay-per-views in a row. I'm just fascinated how the hell this match is going to go on. It's 10 people. It's the ring. Is the cage going to be around the apron like the usual AEW cages, or close to the ring to the apron that you don't have a lot of room outside of it? Or is it going to be like a Hell in a Cell cage, kind of similar to the dog pound steel cage that they have in New Japan Pro Wrestling? And this is just going to be Ospreay putting together his own version for AEW of the dog pound steel cage matches, which is legitimately one of the scariest matches that I think I've ever seen, and it cost somebody their career. So I hope it's not that. I thought he doesn't lay out anything like that for this show, because we only got Hiroshi Tanahashi for 3 more months. Sir, we don't need you to jump off this cage with a high fly flow. You only have 1 knee, because you got a half knee on the left side, a half knee on the right side. That's 1 knee all together. That is how this man was booked to run down to the ring, and he did the most grandpa jog I've ever seen in my life. It hurt me watching him run. It hurts me.
It was a power shuffle.
It really hurts me to see him run. So he shouldn't even be in this matchup. But here we are. Will shouldn't be in this match if he's to be believed. And people, if y'all are believing Will Ospreay on all of this, please notice the fact that every time he brings this up, he does say, because of what the Death Riders did to me, that's why I'm not going to be cleared. He's literally working. This is a work, ladies and gentlemen. Until further notice, until Sean Ross Sapp want to drop a report and say it is real, I'm sorry. I'm going as a work because that's how it's being presented to me. He would not be legitimately cleared to compete. I don't care if it's lights out, steel cage. That's kayfabe. He wouldn't be cleared to compete in reality if he had this serious neck injury, as he said. So people, relax. I think people are getting a little. Someone told me they got emotional watching his. I was like, "Are you okay?" And Kenny Omega has been part-time for a year now. So like, and he got over diverticulitis. So I'm hoping everybody's going to work out. I didn't even mention Kota Ibushi broke his ankles doing a moonsault. He's going to jump off this cage. This is the type of people. And we got Darby Allin. I didn't even mention Darby Allin. How the hell is this match going to go on and everybody's going to walk out okay? That's what I want. I want everyone to walk out okay. That's my prediction. Everybody walks out okay and everybody lives, because that's what I'm hoping for. But if I got to do a prediction, it's the Death Riders.
Yeah, I'm going with the Emperor Strikes Back on this one as well. For everything you said, it's just a lot of losses for the bad guys piled up here. I think they take Ospreay out, and that writes him off for whatever he needs. PW Insider's reporting that he does need surgery of some kind. It might be minor surgery that will have him out for a couple of months, and he's just hamming it up for the audience. There could be a middle ground here, obviously.
Yeah.
But the way that they're setting this up, I mean, Sean Rossap did report that Ospreay was going to have to miss some time, after, I forget which PLE it was, but he was going to have to miss
after All In.
After All In.
He was supposed to miss some time, and then he came back after 2 weeks.
After 2 weeks. Part of me thinks he came back because he's like, F this, man. Forbidden Door, it's in London. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at the show. We'll figure out how to manage whatever I got going on so I can perform in London. This is a match that could be a lot of smoke and mirrors for him if he is dealing with something a little bit more.
I think it's Moxley writes him off, because that's what it seems like they're building to, is Moxley and Ospreay one-on-one.
Yeah, so they'll build for that whenever Ospreay's ready to come back. In the meantime, this gives Darby more reason to continue his pursuit of Moxley, and they can build to that. So I'm going with the Death Riders in this one. Zach?
I'm gonna, just for the sake of argument, I'm gonna go with the Return of the Jedi. I'm going to go with Will Ospreay. He rides off into the sunset and heads into surgery as the guy who dethroned Moxley again. I kind of have this picked because of my world title match prediction. So I might be spoiling that here, but I think because of what I think might happen with MJF and Adam Page, I think there's going to be an element of we want to send this crowd home happy. It's a babyface style match to win, with just the craziness and Darby and Ospreay and all that. So I'm taking good guys.
There we go. That's our first different pick out of all of these matches. Thus far.
You guys are fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, let's get to the world title matches. We got Zack Sabre Jr. defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Nigel McGuinness in London. This is a dream match for many, SP3. I don't think the result is ever going to be in doubt. This would be my lock pick of the night, going with Zack Sabre Jr., but I am very, very happy that Nigel McGuinness is in this position.
People have to realize how big this is for the UK wrestling community. This is the equivalent of 2006 Bryan Danielson versus 1997 Bret Hart. This is like to American fans, that's like the ultimate technical wrestling matchup. To the UK fans, that's Nigel McGuinness versus Zack Sabre Jr. This is gonna have an electric atmosphere being in the O2 arena. Two guys that always wanted to wrestle there, getting their dreams come true in this epic kind of dream match. I expect this to be probably Nigel's best match since returning to in-ring competition. He had a great match with Lee Moriarty at Final Battle, great match with Bryan at Grand Slam last year, and a great performance in the Casino Gauntlet last year at All In. But one-on-one, this is the best guy he's faced so far. This is just it. Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He is the best technical wrestler in the world. He's going to retain, but it's going to be a great match.
The question I have is, Zach, does Zack Sabre Jr. retain on his own, or does Daniel Garcia in the corner play a role in this?
No, Zach wins on his own, and then Daniel turns after.
That's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at. Look, Zack Sabre Jr. is IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. That's a big deal. And I think he's got to get treated as such in this match. And I think he will. I'm glad, SP3, that you pointed out just how big this match is. And the Bret Hart Danielson, analogy is perfect, because that's exactly what it is. I'm so excited to watch this match, and like the other kind of Forbidden Door style match, it just doesn't have a lot of drama. So I hope that, it's on them. It's on them to create it, and on them to try to get you to buy what they're selling. So we'll see. But these guys, it's just going to be like peanut butter and jelly with them. It's going to be perfect.
I'm so torn on this one. The AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Timeless Toni Storm defending against the forever champion, the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Athena. This is the Athena run that I have been waiting literal years for in AEW. I think she has been absolutely spectacular. Toni Storm is still one of the best characters in all of professional wrestling, period, end of story. She has been spectacular through this build as well. And I really don't want this to be the end of it. I want there to be more bites of the apple after this. I want this to continue. I feel like in my head, Toni Storm is retaining, but I am going to listen to my heart on this one, much like I did with Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. And I'm going to try to will this into the existence that I want it to. I'm picking Athena. I think it is time to transition from Timeless to Forever. Let's give Athena the reins at the top of the AEW Women's Division and see what she can really, really do with it. She can hit 1,000 days as the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She can walk around with the double belts for a while. Maybe she ultimately, after she hits 1,000 days, just says, you know what? I've done all I can with this. I will forever be the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, but I leg this down on the ground. I vacate this, and I move on to the AEW Women's World Championship. Maybe they do something like that instead of having her pass it on to somebody else. But I'm going in an upset pick here because I know Toni Storm is the betting favorite. I'm picking Athena to win the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm willing it to happen, SP3. That may be dumb on my part.
I would love to join you in that, because you won't find a bigger Athena fan than me. And it's funny because I didn't really like Ember Moon all that much, only because I felt like they introduced the character to me and then immediately took it away in the feud with Asuka, where they kind of humanized Ember Moon and it kind of nuked her in general for the entire run as far as connecting with her character. But Athena, especially since she's turned heel, this is like one of my favorite women's wrestlers of all time. I just loved her heel work, loved MIT, loved the story with Billy Starks, all the great title defenses as Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. I've heard jokes that me and Kate from Fightful are one or two of 6 people that watch Ring of Honor, and we got to experience the greatness that has been Athena's ROH Women's World Title run, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I'm going to be happy to be here and talk about 1,000 days of her title run. I say all of that to say Timeless Toni Storm is the best women's wrestler in North America, so she's probably going to win. She's the Stone Cold Steve Austin for the AEW Women's Division. She's the Rock, really, for the AEW Women's Division, where she has a stick, she sticks to it, she's hilarious, she's entertaining, she has great promos, more great promos than probably most of the best women's wrestlers combined, and she can still deliver a great match. So all I need from this matchup is to be excellent, as I know these women can get there, because we need to keep on the campaign of Timeless Toni Storm, Women's Wrestler of the Year. Athena will have her spot. I think that Athena will become AEW Women's World Champion, if not by the end of this year, definitely in 2026 when she finally is done with the albatross that is the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, and she can pass it on to Billy Starks. But for now, we need this title to stay on Timeless Toni.
Zach, where are you going?
Timeless Toni Storm. I almost picked Athena here because of the fact that, like, Toni Storm is run through just so much of the women's division. It's like, what direction, where do you go with her? The thing is, I said that about Timeless Toni Storm for a while, and she keeps going really, really good places. And she is the face of that division. And so you just make opponents for her to work with. She elevates them because she's who she is. And you go from there. Until that Ring of Honor World Championship is not around the waist of Athena, I just don't think I buy her winning the big strap. And it's not to say that she won't ever, because I think she will. And it's so good to see her in this spot. And I kind of think for as great as the ROH World Title run has been for her, it's a bit of an anchor for her where you got to get that offer for her to really, really fly and move up. So I think there's still steps there, but this is going to be a hell of a match. And I think Toni Storm wins. And I think she, just stays at the top. Like sometimes it's simple in pro wrestling. Just feed your top star interesting acts. Well, heel or babyface, right? That's where Toni Storm is right now. And that's the best compliment I could give her.
Our final matchup is for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Adam Page defending against MJF. And there are some special stipulations now to this one after this week on AEW Dynamite. The title can now change hands via disqualification. The title can now change hands via countout. And MJF does not have to use his contract, his Casino Gauntlet contract, to get this title match, which to me means Hangman Adam Page is retaining and MJF is going to hang on to his ace in the hole one way or the other. They may do something stupid here, though, SP3, where Hangman Adam Page retains the title. Maybe MJF does something stupid where he
take the words out of my mouth. Don't take the words out of my mouth.
He gets himself disqualified doing something stupid, attacks him after the match, and then cashes in and steals it afterwards. And they do something like that, some kind of bullcrap angle to steal the title away from Hangman Adam Page. There's a reason that they are doing this, because they did not need to do this, but they did it, and there's a reason why they're doing it. It's because MJF is going to steal the title away from him at some point. As far as this match in particular is concerned, Hangman Adam Page is going to retain, but it doesn't mean that MJF's not walking away with the belt at the end of the night.
I think they did this, the whole angle on Dynamite this week, is because they saw the rating for MJF and Hangman from the week prior and was like, we should probably keep this going. Oh, but we kind of booked ourselves in the corner. Oh, we'll just forget it. Just do an angle where it totally undermines what we did last week.
Where's my neuralizer? You didn't see what you just
saw. Oh my God. I did not enjoy. I enjoyed the performances by Hangman and MJF. I did not enjoy any of the material from this segment, because that segment the week prior was absolutely phenomenal. It played off of both of their characters so well. MJF is an insecure, cocky narcissist, and he played up to that so well, where he created a trap to goat Hangman into giving him the title shot, and then fell into the trap, and then has the face when he falls into the trap, and Hangman comes off as the smart babyface who got the better of him, and then MJF regroups by getting angry and attacking him backstage. That was perfect build. I was like, yo, all they had to do was stick the landing on Dynamite this week, and this is one of the better built world title matches in a while, and it follows up from their great feud earlier this year, where you can legitimately say, even with me not enjoying the go home segment, this has been AEW's one of if not their best feud of the year, because this feud really symbolizes when AEW made the pivot, because we were dealing with a month of MJF versus Double J Jeff Jarrett in the year of our Lord 2025, and then Tony Khan made a pivot and went to Hangman Adam Page, and it's been smooth sailing for AEW ever since then. It's been AEW is good, fed bad for a few months now. Congratulations, Tony Khan. You made the right decision that Hangman is a much better rival for MJF than Double J. But yeah, I just didn't need that go home segment. Didn't like it. But as far as this matchup goes, I think that Hangman retains. I think they're going to run this match back up at All Out. But if this was what you wanted to do, isn't the simpler thing to do is just follow up for all the booking? Because this was not booked like this was going to be MJF versus Hangman 2-3 weeks ago. It was booked like it was going to be Mark Briscoe, MJF, and Hangman Adam Page. So last week, what he should have done is not goat MJF to use his contract, but goat MJF by saying, I'll give you the title match without the contract, but we're making it a 3-way, and Mark Briscoe has to be in this title match. That Hangman is so brave, he's willing to put his title up against 2 challengers just to screw over Max and not give him what he wants.
Yeah.
I'm going to take MJF. I'm taking MJF.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm with Rick in You do the old switcheroo thing. There's a reason for this. And so to me, like MJF winning the world title here. First of all, MJF doesn't do too many jobs. He doesn't lose too often. He's already lost to Adam Page one time. Like chasing Adam Page chasing the world title, we know good for business for AEW. Do you want to create an environment if you're Tony Khan where not all your fans assume that every single title run is going to be, months and months and months, but
sure,
it can turn on a dime, and we haven't seen this type of quality opponent for a newly crowned babyface very often for AEW this soon in the title reign. So I think all that means something. I'm taking MJF.
Yeah, the more I've sat here and thought about it, I would not be surprised at whatsoever if MJF loses the first match because he gets himself disqualified so he can, for lack of a better term, cripple Hangman Adam Page and then cash in his contract and beat him afterwards in the immediate rematch. And then you can run the match back at All Out in Toronto if you really want.
That just Hangman losing his title 1 month after he won it. It does not sound like a good idea to me. It does not sound like a good idea at all. All the
doesn't mean it won't happen.
All the work you did. No, I'm. This is the key. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm saying it's a horrible idea if Tony Khan listens to y'all and have MJF walk out with the world title. Like,
I mean, it would be an unpredictable finish. And again, unpredictable doesn't always mean it's good, but it would be an unpredictable finish for an otherwise pretty predictable card. We'll see how everything shakes out Sunday night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Takedown on SI YouTube channel, our prediction show here. Check out SP3's conversation with Speedball Mike Bailey, which dropped this week. Zach and I are ending our Takedown discussions hiatus. That will be returning at some point this weekend. Until then, like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for the support, and we'll chat at you next time. Enjoy the shows this weekend, everybody.